Hello there! What is going on, everybody? We finally got our preview article for Cassian and Iden. Now, I say finally because this is like the elephant in the room. These were kind of leaked from Poland. We kind of knew that they were coming for a long time now, but we didn't really have any details other than the names. So we knew what was coming. However, we now have the articles and a little bit of a look at these cool new commanders. They're very versatile, it would seem. And so that is pretty cool. So you're getting Iden Versio and Cassian Andor. Cassian's coming with K2SO, and Iden is coming with ID10. Or it's weird because it's only one letter off from spelling idiot. Like if it had a T on the end, it would be like an idiot droid, which is not very nice. And but at the same time, I don't want to call it Dio, because that's the same name of the new roly dog-looking droid in Rise of Skywalker. So I don't know. ID10 is what I'm going to call it, because that's probably just the better way to say it. But it does from the D10. I think when it was first announced, it was like D10, and I was like, that's strange because it's the same name as another one. Anyway, yeah. So that's what we've got. And before we look at these guys, I gotta remind you guys, there's still time left to enter. There's plenty of giveaways still remaining to be given away for the 12 Days of Life Day giveaway. One was just announced on Twitter yesterday, and yeah, I've been dropping a lot of them on the end of my YouTube videos. You may see some on Facebook as well. So if you want to follow me on social media, check the links in the description below. Any of the giveaway stuff that is not claimed in January is going to roll over into Patreon, additional giveaways there. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, this is a great time to jump in and become a patron. There's other benefits as well that go into all of that. And I'm looking at adding some new rewards next year. So I've got some ideas. So if there's anything that you think would be a really great option, you can leave suggestions down in the comments box as well. All right, so with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in and take a look at these awesome new expansions. So we have got Cassian and K2SO, and it's funny that they just kind of like dropped some hints for K2SO yesterday. But boy, it's a good week for Legion news, right? It's going to be a little while though before we get any more, because I think this is it for a little while. We've got Cassian and K2SO, kind of going to work in that counterpart function, just like R2 and 3PO, and that it's going to be Cassian Andor by himself. It doesn't look like you'll be able to deploy K2SO by himself. However, there may be some options to kind of have him function as an operative once he's already deployed. Maybe he'll be able to break off from Cassian and do his own thing temporarily in the middle of battle. That's what it looks like. It looks like they'll at least have to start together, though. There's certainly a lot of questions about how this is really going to function, but it looks cool. And the cool thing here is you're also getting multiple types of configuration build options. Now, this should come on the hard plastic sprues. So this should be the first Rebel unit to come on a sprue, which is going to be interesting. But that also definitely, like, I can see that really working for K2 also, because he's got like the thinner legs, so harder plastic's going to give him a more stable feel. So I'm kind of digging that. But also you got a lot of different options here for, like, you can have him with just his hands. They can hold him a grenade. He can even hold Jin's pistol that she gives him in the movie. Cassian's got a couple of different options as well. He's got the sniper rifle and he's got his pistol there. And we can see a couple other options here in the spread. One thing that I noticed that's really interesting in the spread, and you see this in both of these new expansions, is this smaller, down at the bottom, this smaller token for an operative. And I think that's in case K2SO breaks off. I don't think like you'll be like shuffling an order into the bag though, because it's a much smaller token. So it probably means he like gets it automatically or something like that. Maybe it's a command card that allows that to happen. Speaking of command cards, we're actually going to get 4 command cards in both of these expansions. 3 for Cassian and 1 for K2SO himself. So there is a way for him to effectively become an operative, at least temporarily. That much is cool. We're getting a bunch of cards here. There's actually a pretty decent sized spread, although most of them are hidden. We're not really able to see a lot of the cards, and most of these up here are stuff we've already seen, minus the new weapons. So what are the new weapons? Well, we see Jin's blaster, it looks like, that she's giving. It looks like it's very similar art to Trust Goes Both Ways, where she kind of, gives K2SO her blaster in the movie. It looks like it has Pierce and Suppressive. And there's some other text on there. I wonder if it's going to be legal to use that in the same build where Jin has a blaster. So I'm kind of curious about that. But yeah, Cassian Andor has a true sniper rifle, which is actually really cool. A red and a black, range 1 to infinity, with high velocity and Pierce 1 and reconfigure. So we can't see what's on the other side of that one, but it was expected that he was going to have some type of reconfigurable weapon that would turn into a sniper rifle, because that's literally, he had his weapon in the sniper configuration when he, so clearly we were expecting it as very thematic, matches the movie. So that's cool. A red and a black. Now he doesn't have search to crit, but he's got search to hit. So red and a black with Pierce 1 and high velocity is going to be real nice. It's going to be real nice. Now, it does have cumbersome, so he won't be able to move and shoot. Gosh, what do you do? Do you want to aim and shoot at this point? It's going to be... I think aim and shoot is going to work really well. I think aim is a good option for this guy, because he's got this marksman keyword. So, looking at his card specifically, he's got some interesting stuff. So he's got the loadout. He's got the hard point pistol. He's got 2 training slots and a gear slot. He also has K2SO's unit card behind him. Now, it's funny because that looks like a full-blown unit card, but I, also kind of expect, it's going to be the counterpart thing. So, but K2SO as a counterpart can also take a pistol, Jin's pistol, presumably, and a cum. And that's kind of what we see from when we read the rules about how counterparts work, in that while you're it's going to be the same unit, you're not all using Cassian's blaster. When you're a counterpart, you are using your own weapon to attack. And if you don't have a weapon, you're not multiplying the parent unit's attack. You're both rolling your own separate weapons into the attack pool. So that is kind of a cool way that counterpart works here. Now, we can't really see much of how K2SO is going to work. I imagine he's going to have a pretty strong melee, hopefully at least a red die, because he hits pretty hard. He might have more red. I could see him having 3 red dice for melee, or a red and 2 black, or something like that. He could have a pretty strong melee. I could see something, or 1 of each, something like that. Because, yeah, maybe not 3 red. 3 red is a little bit, maybe too much. Anyway, Cassian Andor has a lot of things. He's a commander. He's got 6 health, 2 courage, both surges, but not crit. Speed 2, so kind of pretty good. White defense die, so kind of standard, fairly good rebel, as far as just his base stats. His weapon has Pierce 1, which Pierce is probably still my favorite keyword in the game. Absolutely love Pierce 1, so that's good. 1 red and 2 white at range 1 to 2. The short range, so that's kind of rough. But that's okay, because we got some other cool stuff. And of course, so you don't even have to give him the weapon. Like, if you don't want to give him that sniper rifle or whatever, you don't have to, because he does have, a regular blaster. But he's got a cool thing called covert ops. So when you deploy, you may treat your rank as an operative, and if you do, gain infiltrate. Which is really weird, because it's during deployment. So I think for list building, this isn't going to let you get... Because I think the rank structure only applies to list building, right? This is for army building. So I think this is a way for you to get 3 operatives. Like, if you had Cassian as your commander, and then you would have maybe, operative Luke and Sabine, right? For example, then that would be legal, because you could then deploy him as an operative. I'm really curious how the FAQ is going to work for covert ops, but I think that would be how it worked, and I think it wouldn't be until the end of your first turn that you nominate a new commander. I'm curious when the nominate a new commander step really comes into play there, because I believe that happens at the end of a round, and you don't have an end of a round until the end of round 1, unless of course unless covert ops. Unless there's basically a new FAQ in the rules reference that addresses covert ops and says, if at the beginning you don't have a commander, then assign a new commander. Because in theory, I don't know if it's possible to lose your commander before turn 1. I lost a sniper strike team before turn 1 due to a mine from minefields, but I don't think you can lose a commander during turn 1. So anyway, yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. He has Danger Sense 3. Danger Sense is just a great word. So it really takes him from being not that survivable to moderately survivable. Like for your suppression, you can basically roll 3 extra dice when defending. Really good against small attacks. Because somebody's attacking you with like 1 or 2 dice, 2 hits come through. All right, well I can roll 5 now, and I've got Search for defense. I play against my friend Sean an awful lot. He runs Jinn and Pathfinders, which also have Danger Sense. He happens to roll pretty good. He rolls a lot of Surge on his white dice. I'm not gonna lie. So he's just it's really hard for me to kill Jinn and Pathfinders. Although every once in a while I'll just get lucky and they're all blanks, and even all the extras. So I like that one. New ability here called loadout. Now this is, a lot of these abilities are going to require some FAQs because I'm really curious how they're going to interact with specific things, but loadout is nuts. Loadout is basically sidebarring, aka like things you used to do in Magic the Gathering. You're going to have a sidebar of upgrade cards. So when you deploy, so you can have alternative stuff based on what you think the game's going to require. When you deploy, you may change out any of your equipped upgrades with your set-aside upgrades. So really, what constitutes set-aside upgrades? That's one thing we're going to have to learn. Like, are you allowed one set-aside upgrade for each slot per character that has a loadout? And are they bound for specific characters? If I've got 2 different loadout characters and they each have gear and training on them, can I just have one big common pile of training? Or do I have to say this is Cassian's set-aside loadout and this is, Mace Windu's set-aside loadout? Mace Windu wouldn't be in the... But do you have to specify a loadout belongs to a specific character? And of course, you can just put them underneath the card for when you're playing, if that's how it works, or you can have them in a separate deck. Like, that's just a really interesting mechanic. And I think that'll be really fun to see how that plays out. I'm like, oh, we're playing on this terrain. Well, now I really need, I need to gain Expert Climber here because I'm going to be climbing a lot. So good thing I had that in my in my backpack, right? Like, that's a cool new ability. I like it. And due to those type of upgrades that are out right now, I don't know if that's really broken. I think for the training upgrades is what is going to give him the biggest advantage. Having 2 training, but then again, with 2 training upgrades, you can already equip the ones that you might want. And also, does your loadout count into your points cost? My guess is it doesn't. And how does that work? Can I put a 2-point upgrade on you, right? And then swap it out for a 10-point upgrade? How does that affect list building? My one guess to make that balanced is you count the most expensive version between either the one that's equipped and the one that's in the sidebar. So that's what I would suggest, but I'm sure the rules are already written, but that's pretty cool. Because otherwise that's just a list for you to get way, that could be a quick excuse for you to get way over 800 points by having all kinds of stuff, like the cheapest option equipped. Like for gear, I want to have Scout 2, but then swap that out for, extra rerolls or something like that. That's so I'm curious how that's going to work. And then we have another all-new ability, Marksmen. Oh, this one we don't exactly know, but we're going to put some guesses. So while attacking, you can spend an aim token to upgrade attack die results, or to improve attack die results. Now, that's kind of ambiguous because I'm like, well, okay, I'll spend the aim. I want them all to be crits. No, I'm sure improve is, I almost feel like that should be a bolded word. Like, what does improve mean, right? So my guess is there'll be an entry under marksmanship, is that it's going to do something directly to your attack pool rather than give you rerolls, which is kind of random. It's going to give you something guaranteed. Exactly what is guaranteed, we don't know. Like, is that going to turn a hit into a crit? Probably. My guess is you could turn a hit into a crit that way. What about a blank die? Does a blank die turn into a surge? And do surges go into crits? Is there a 4-tiered system? And how many dice? Since an aim normally lets you reroll 2, is marksman going to let you upgrade 2 dice? Now, it looks like it says die results. or maybe it's dice results. I would say die result, wouldn't it? I don't know. It's a little blurry. But yeah, I'm curious how marksman really works there. There's no value on it, so it's not marksman 1 or marksman 2. It's just marksman. So I'm guessing it's a single die. But we're gonna have to see. Like, it might be more. It may upgrade every single die in your attack pool. It may turn blanks to surge it. Like, if that's the case, then Cassian always hits all the time. I mean, goodness gracious, could you imagine something like that? That's nuts. You couldn't miss. So, but we'll have to see. I mean, granted, if you're going to be a marksman, you got to have a very few dice, and he's only got 3. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Now he's got crack shot here. This is nice, right? He's got crack shot that says Cassian Andor. Oh wait, hold on. And he's got tactical 1, so he's going to get that free aim token anyway, which is really, really cool. I mean, like, white dice always hitting, if that's... So we've got crack shot, his 1 pip. He gains gunslinger and an aim token. At the end of his activation, he may gain a suppression token, and he gains a standby token. So the standby is coming last, so that suppression is not immediately killing the standby. And also, you're not taking the standby action. So if you did shoot, you're still able to get the standby token. You're not taking the standby action. That's the one that you can't take if you have already shot. So yeah, there we go. Next up, we have Iden Versio and ID10. So we got multiple options for Iden here. Of course, we got helmeted, unhelmeted. That's going to be pretty cool. I don't know which one I'm going to go with. I feel like I want to go unhelmeted, even though I know a lot of people are saying helmeted. I've seen a lot of talk in the Legion Discord already as to which option people are preferring. But I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't really see a whole lot of reason for pilots to be wearing their pilot helmet while down on the ground. So like I might run her. It also, I think, I'll probably just paint up both options. But I really see us as getting pilots at some point, X-Wing pilots and TIE Fighter pilots on the ground. It does make sense, like maybe as either objectives or as a different type of core, like downed pilots. Maybe they don't have the best ranged weapons, but maybe they've got some type of tactical or strategic ability that works on the battlefield because they've had a bird's eye view before they crashed, right? I'd like to see something like that. And if that's the case, then it makes more sense to have her without the helmet, so this way she'll stand out a little bit more from the pilots. But I don't know. I'm just spitballing. So we look at her card here. We do see that we're getting ID10. Now, ID10 may, look a little different. We can see his card makes him look a lot more like a counterpart in that he's laid out a little bit differently. So that's certainly, like, if we go back and we compare that to the K2, K2 SO there does not have that same type of look. So he might be different. I'm really curious how he's going to work, if we're going to be able to field him without Cassian or not. I would guess that you would have to have him, but we'll see. And we get the small little operative option for ID10 as well. Now, I do want to go back and look at something else really quick, because it looks like we're getting 4 tokens between Cassian and K2SO. And if we're getting 4 tokens, like, what is K2SO? Is he, like... Is he also covert ops? Could K2SO come as a commander? Why do we get 4 tokens? Maybe he's a different rank altogether. Maybe he could be a core. Maybe he could be a core unit of just like one dude. Like, I don't know. I'm sure he's at least got operative ability, but that could be totally due to that token. So anyway, we're going back. We're looking at this. Let's look at what Iden comes with. So she has ID10. She's got her unit card. We're going to talk about her unit card as well. But again, we're seeing a lot of upgrades, and my guess is the spread for these two will be the same, since they each have about the same types of upgrades that they can take. My guess is that you're going to see pretty much the same stuff. Interesting thing, though, is she comes with comm, and nobody appears that they can take comm. Although ID10 could have more stuff on the other side. I believe C-3PO had his upgrades on the right side of the card. So he looks like he's almost definitely a counterpart. So that's interesting. But yeah, so she's got a DLT that is also a true sniper rifle. Range 1 to infinity. 2 black this time. And she does have the offensive surge. So that's going to work. And Pierce 1. So nasty, nasty stuff. Now, Iden does not have defensive surge, but she has the red defense die, so that's cool. But she also has a whole different weapon. So while ID10T may not be able to equip a gun, Iden can equip a different one, which is fine because she's got loadout, right? So maybe loadout's going to work better for her than for Cassian. Maybe because she can be like, oh no, I want this weapon instead. Now, keep in mind, that's a 15-point sniper rifle, so that's very, very expensive. She looks like she's about 100 points on her own, so not too expensive of a commander, especially a 6 health commander, which is not too bad. But she's got some critical impact. So she's got basically an anti-vehicle option and an anti-personnel option, although we haven't seen what's on the other side of those. Although they might not have anything on the other side. I don't see reconfigure printed on either of those cards. So that might be really where, like, you can only reconfigure once. You know, it's just like, which gun am I going to bring to this battlefield? Oh, it's, you know, there's no vehicles? Okay, let me bring the sniper rifle. You know, something like that. Or none at all if you just want to go 3 white with surge to hit, which is Pierce 1. I think I'd rather get the black. But no, that has Pierce 1 too. But there we go. All right. So Iden has quick thinking. Same thing that Jin has, right? Gives you an aim and a dodge token. She's got covert ops also. So she can be deployed as an operative instead and gain infiltrate, which is nice. She's got loadout, where, again, we talked about that one already. And she's got marksmen. We talked about that one already. So loadout lets you swap stuff out. Marksman lets you upgrade your dice results. And that might be really the thing like that makes you not want to take a sniper rifle, because it really depends on how marksman is going to work. If it upgrades all of your dice results, then 3 white, might as well have 3 white. They're all going to be hits. All right? And you've got Pierce 1. So that's good. She also has Nimble, which is kind of cool. We haven't seen an Imperial with Nimble yet. I don't believe we have. It's been almost exclusively a Rebel thing. I think Obi-Wan gets it through his 1-pip. But generally, that's just a Rebel keyword. And so that basically means after she spends a dodge token after defending, she can get another dodge token back. So dodge is good. And that works really well with quick thinking. So that's nice. So she might want to do quick thinking and then shoot. I used marksman, got some nice damage out there with Pierce 1. And then, if you shoot me back, well, I can just be dodgy and have red dice. So, she's Courage 3, so she could probably handle that a little bit better. Courage 3, 6 health, no defensive surge, though, still speed 2. Looks pretty good. Pretty good. I'm really curious. Now, they did say that ID10T can, or not ID10T, ID10 can attack and incapacitate people. So I'm curious how incapacitate is going to work. If that's going to be anything like how Dooku shuffles somebody's token over, or maybe if you're incapacitated, you have to get a face down token of you. Maybe you can't activate that turn, or you just get a couple of suppression, or maybe it's just a suppressive keyword. Might be something like that. And we get Iden's 1-pip, which is called Pulse Scan. It's going to give her Sharpshooter 2 and an aim token. At the end of her activation, she gains a dodge token and a standby token. So here's the interesting thing between both of these. Her and Cassian's 1-pip. They are very similar to each other. The characters as a whole are very similar to each other. But I feel like this is a really good option for if you're playing them as their operative aspect. If they're, like, maybe you want to, like, a turn 1 attack. Like, I want to really go after your commander right away, or I want to go after a couple of your sniper team right away, or something like that. I'm going to get close. You could potentially get some scout, with the right upgrade. So you get close. She's range 3 here, so like you drop her really close, maybe scout up, and you play pulse scan turn 1. She gains sharpshooter 2. She's shooting through heavy cover. Doesn't care. She gets the aim token right away. Pretty likely that with that aim token that she could end up with 3 hits. Again, depends how marksman works. And then she's going to get a dodge token and a standby token. And this is at the end of her activation. So she can, shoot. Well, actually, before she shoots, she could do quick thinking again and then shoot. She has an aim. She has 2 aims. And she has sharpshooter 2 this whole turn, right? This whole turn. So, and then she's got a standby. So anybody tries to shoot her, granted, she's now maybe you want to increase her standby range because of that 1-pip. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. I can see that, especially because you'll have 2 aim tokens. You can potentially shoot twice, 3 3 damage going through, ignoring heavy cover, plus Pierce 1. That could work, and you'd have 2 dodge tokens, and however many you spend after you defend, you're going to get at least 1 back, or just 1 back, rather, not at least 1, but just exactly 1 back. So that could be a nasty way to harass people, and also guarantee your commander's dead right away. But at least she's moderately cheap. You know, she's a little cheaper than a lot of other commanders, so it could work. It might be worth harassing people, or even sometimes just the threat of covert ops will certainly do that. I'm also curious about how command tokens work. If you when you deploy, because you're choosing it when you're deployed, so I think at that point that's when you would change out the command token from your pool. It's not like you're going to be stuck with a command token in there. So a lot of questions about how a lot of this stuff is going to be referenced in the rules reference guide. I think it's pretty cool though. I think it's cool we're getting new units. I'm curious though why we're getting new operatives and stuff for the existing factions that have like so many operatives already. Like where are are you with me here? Where are our operatives and special forces for the Clone Wars? I'm sure they're probably coming. My guess is, based on the knowledge I have of how the wave structures work, I think that this is the first 2 in a whole new wave. And the rest of this wave, my guess, will be coming out in 2020. And probably be announced. I mean, it could be. They might announce something after Christmas, too, because they only said we were getting 5 new product announcements before Christmas. So, in theory, after Christmas, doors are wide open, right? Or they could have just said at least 5. Maybe there's more coming, too, and they just didn't want to promise something. They weren't sure if they would have the article ready to go. They could surprise us with even more new articles. But I do think we're also going to be getting something like this for the other factions as well. And what's cool is that you're getting multiple minis, too, and you're getting multiple stuff. So, really digging these. And these are also set for first quarter 2020. So they are definitely getting into the whole, like, we want to close the gap between announcement and release date. So that's pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited about it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. Click that bell for alerts if you would like to be notified when new videos come out. And I will talk to you guys later. Big thanks to patrons and Patreon. You guys are amazing. And always thank you so much for helping continue support this channel. And if you're interested in becoming a patron, there are links for that in the description below. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a great day.